Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. If you read the title for this, I am today reviewing Prince of the Song and Sea by Linsey Miller, which is, as you can maybe tell from the cover, a Little Mermaid retelling, at least the Disney version Little Mermaid retelling. And in this one we follow the perspective of Eric instead of Ariel, so it is a bit of a different retelling. And I would share some thoughts on what I thought about it here, which is the point of a review, I guess. Let's go. So, in this one we have Eric, who was actually cursed when he was in the tummy of his mommy when he was not born. And he was cursed to believe that when he kisses someone and it's not his true love, he will die. So he has gone on his life avoiding to kiss anyone because obviously he doesn't want to die, which is, you know, pretty decent and smart thing to do, to not kiss everyone if you're thinking on a die of it. And then 2 years ago his mother disappeared. He has like been preparing himself to take over the kingdom. He's now 18 years old. There's really a lot of pressure on him to get married, to secure the line and secure everything, because it's not good that he's not married apparently. But yeah, his coronation is coming up ish soon, and then he finds this clue where and how to solve his curse, because he wants this curse to be gone, obviously, so that he could marry someone maybe for an alliance, even though he is not a true love. He doesn't know even how to find his true love, and then he wants to go out on this mission to find the witch that cursed him, etc., and reverse it or stop it or whatever. But then, you know, there's a little shipwreck and he gets saved by someone, but he doesn't know who. And then this girl shows up that he really likes, that cannot speak and has really different customs from what he's used to. Interesting. It might be Ariel. Might be a spoiler for you, but it might be Ariel. Just saying. And what I enjoy so much about this story is that it really kept everything from the movie. It kept the same lines, it kept the same thing that happened, but it added to the story. Now, as I said, like with all the background story from Eric that I just talked about, obviously that is not in the movie, so there's already things added, but it added more to that. It added more things happening, whereas like that is not in the movie. Like, for example, conversations that's not there, because like we don't get to see all the conversations in the movie, kind of see highlights of what's happening to them. So there's like teeny tiny bits in between, and then we get kind of like, I'm not going to spoil it, but like little mission that fits into the timeline for the movie, even though it's not in the movie. Like, we cannot say it does not happen just because it doesn't happen on the screen. And I think the author was really clever doing this, because I was just like, I had just watched The Little Mermaid randomly, even though like I was going to read this. I should have watched it anyway, but like I kind of had no plans to be watching it before. But the reason I watched it was because I was bored one day and I took this random wheel that was going to choose which Disney movies I was going to watch, and then I got Little Mermaid, and that's the only reason I watched it. And then I read this right after, so it was very fitting. And because of this, I had the movie very fresh in my mind, so I knew exactly what was new and added to the story. And obviously I think I would have known it anyway because I watched the movie a billion times, obviously. And I just really enjoyed the things that the author added to the story, of like how him and Ariel communicated, of how like they loved each other, how they really like fell for each other, even though, you know, in the movie they start caring for each other really fast, and we get this very few moments in between them. But here it's added so much many layers to their relationship that we really do believe in it, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoy like the more complexities of like the curse and like why that stopped him from maybe kissing her, and you know, kissing her is a pretty huge deal in the story, and it just added layer and layer to the story, which I really enjoyed. I almost wish like we get a new movie but like with the same shit, but just like this point of view, because it adds so much to the story. And I know some people won't enjoy it. I know some people will be like, oh, but I want a complete original exactly as the movie, I don't want anything else added to the story, it ruins the original movie, blah 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 blah. But I'm just like, the movie still exists, and it is in its format as it is anyway. No matter what you do, it's still gonna exist as it is. This is just like so many more things added that just give so many more layers and complexities, because, you know, Disney movie is a Disney movie, but this just felt like a story. And I thought at first it would be exactly as the movie, and I was just a bit like, we're just gonna get Eric's point of view. That seems a bit weird, but I just really enjoyed it. In my head now, I feel like this is gonna be in my mind whenever you watch Little Mermaid. I'm like, why we not see it? I know what really happened. I don't know. It's not like, I don't know, is it official canon? It is, you know, from Disney Press. So this author was probably hired to write this story. Don't mind it at all. And it seems to be a series as well. It seems to be a series of like Disney princess, and I'm just wondering who would they would do next, and I'm very excited for it now. It was just such a good time and good vibe, honestly. And yeah, I forgot to say in the beginning, but this is released on the 4th of October, so when you're watching this, it's already been released, because time, videos in my head, trying to do calculations. Who knows, I want to talk about his mother that is missing. Her name was Eleonora of Alana. And I don't know, but in my mind, every time I read that, it rhymed. Because also every time they were gonna write his mother's name, it was literally like, Eleonora of Alana, every time. And I was just like, you don't need to write off every time you need to write her name. You could have literally just said my mother. And I don't know, they go out on this thing, they meet one character called Malek, and I don't want to say more about him, but it was just so random. This is like one part of the story I didn't enjoy, because there's this one thing that happens to another character, and then this Malek who comes and he's just like, yeah, that's because it's like this and this and this and this, and it had to do with Erica's backstory. But then they just kind of never talked about it again. And then they moved on. Like, it was this literally aspect of the story where a certain character, I don't want to spoil anything, but a certain thing happens to her. And we're just like, okay, this is really random. And I felt like this would affect how Eric sees Ariel. I don't know why. And then I just never talked about it again. And then I just never talk about it. Like, Eric doesn't care. It's just like, oh, and this had to do with the backstory. And this Malek dude shows up and explains stuff. And then they just don't care. And I was just like, this is a bit weird. Did I also forget about this? I feel like that could have been explored more. So that was a bit weird. And I literally laughed out loud because it was a bit ridiculous. Also, one thing I wish that was added to the story is that everyone eats fish and stuff around them. And Ariel avoids this because, like, fish are her friends. She doesn't want to eat them. And I feel like later that should have been brought up, like, what they did about this in this kingdom. Are they gonna still keep eating fish? Are they gonna keep eating Ariel's friends? Because clearly, you know how the ending goes. She becomes a princess of this country. Queen, eventually, I would say. And does she just keep... Do they let... I don't know. There's a sequel in Little Mermaid. I don't remember if they eat fish in that one. I know there's a sequel. And I love that, by the way. I know people hate that, but I love that. Do they eat fish then? And I thought that could have been brought up because I thought it would be interesting that Eric could be like, well, we could stop eating that. And I thought also could have shown in the story, like, that she talks to fish. And we don't get to meet, like, Sebastian and what's the name of Dumle, like the fish friend. Like, literally, I cannot remember the English name. I can only remember the Norwegian name now right now. Well, you know which fish I mean. We don't get to meet them. Like, Eric doesn't get to meet them. Does he ever get to meet them? I don't remember. But I just thought that was a bit sad. Like, some parts of, like, the humor in the movie and stuff wasn't there. But obviously, like, it's a different story. I get that. But I just wish, like, we had a bit more, like, of the different parts. But I really liked seeing Eric react to these different things that we see happening, but we always see from Ariel's point of view. And I always, like, really enjoyed that. So I just really like his point of view and seeing that. I just wish some certain parts was added to the story. Now I'm the one complaining, oh my god, it was like this and this compared to the movie, blah 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 blah. But I feel like it's stuff to mention as well. I'm seeing the story on its own, but obviously it would not be as enjoyable if you haven't watched the movie. I don't know how I can imagine someone picking this up and I'm not knowing what the Little Mermaid is, because then I feel like the things happening, like conversations, and like, you know, when Ariel takes their fork to her hair, that would just be so weird. Like, when Ariel's revealed, you would just be like, what? I mean, I guess the hints are there, but I feel like it would be weird reading this without having watched the movie. But that's maybe because the movie has been so immersed in me in so many years, so that's maybe why. But for me, it would feel weird. So yeah, but I guess you could enjoy it. As for the story, what it is, there's like a mystery, you know, you try to find out this curse thing, following the clues. Like, it does have those aspects. So I guess you could read it without it and then, like, be really shocked on reveals. But I would assume people will see this cover in the store. They know what it is. And they want to read this to their kids who loves the movie. And for that alone, I feel like they would have a great time with it. Like, imagine that scenario. Like, a kid running in and be like, oh my god, it's Prince Eric. And then we'd be like, oh my god. And then they would read it together, or like the kid would read it or something. How I imagine it in my head. And I feel like that is really sweet. It says it is ages 12 to 18 though, so it's like a YA though. Very excited for the live action to come. Just the little snippet we got still looks perfect, and I'm so excited. But even like a side FF romance in this. Love inputted queerness in a book always. And I think like that's my thoughts. I feel like they were scattered, but just generally like when we watched the movie, things I wanted added, things I really enjoyed. I think like it was smartly done. So I talked about some things I really enjoyed, some things that I felt like could have been added, but overall I thought it was a smart and fun book, and I feel like people will really enjoy it. I personally really did, and I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. And I think that's it for this review. Leave a little mermaid down below if you enjoyed this. You will see me soon in a new one. Check out my Patreon down below if you are interested to join for many reading sprints and other fun goodies. And you will see me soon in a new one. Goodbye.